course, the Canes blasted Pitt with no problem. That result and that performance could be compared to someone else, but actually that shouldn't be necessary, should it? Welcome into the Voice of College Football. We talk Miami football with all of you, and this is the fun time of year, or maybe the stressful time of year.
Both.
Both can be true. And here we are. Cam Underwood right next to me, as always, the State of the U, of course. Catch him right there at SB Nation, of course, each and every day. Him and the rest of the crew covering Miami football and athletics across the board. Cam, how you doing tonight?
Doing well, just retweeting out the links. I feel good. I feel great. I feel accomplished. All good things, on the field, in the terms of, or, in the world of the wonderful world of recruiting, not so much in the world of people without brains who meet in a hotel that was up the street from where my mother used to live in Grapevine, Texas, but whatever. All good, man. So yeah, glad to be here. Happy to be done with what I believe to be a very solid National Signing Day for the Canes and the content that I created, because I'm very, very proud of what I continue to deliver. And I feel very, very strongly in a positive way about what I did today. So yeah, feel good.
We, of course, have three big topics here. The win over Pitt last weekend. We've got the college football playoff revealed on Tuesday and what the ramifications will be and what could take place this weekend and beyond. Of course, the selection goes out on Sunday. And then, of course, as Cam alludes to, National Signing Day with 30 commits coming in and the 10th ranked class, according to 247 Sports. All right. The Pitt win 38-7. I don't think there was any question out of people that watched the game of college football that going into the game that Miami was the better team, but that Pitt could present some problems. They did not. It was 38-7. It was fairly close there in the first quarter or so. And then Miami took over from there. Cold and weather conditions aside, not that they were bad, but just unfamiliar to the Canes. And again, a 38-7 demolition.
Excuse me, Jesus. Yeah. Really went and handled business. Sorry. Had to do something real quick. Bingo, bango, bongo. And then we close that. Yeah. It just took a couple drives. And like the thing is, you can't have a blowout immediately at the beginning of a game. Like you have to have drives to put points on the board. As I leave open, like, okay, we had a punt on the first drive, had a bad drop by Keelan Marion. Fine. So they go 3 and out, lose 13 yards. We get a first down, but then punt. Then we give them another 3 and out right quick. And then we scored on our next 5 real drives, not including the end of the first half, which, we were backed up, and that's not like a real scoring opportunity. But yeah, as soon as we got going, it was it. And like we gave up a deep pass and a couple runs and a couple penalties on their one scoring drive. Outside of that, they crossed the so they had a missed field goal after they scored a touchdown. In their last 6 drives, they crossed their own 31-yard line once. And that was on the drive that we stopped them on 4th down. Like it was truly men amongst boys. Like we did to them what we do to, or, routinely do to teams and have done to teams this year. We won up front, and Malachi Tony is incredible. Gerard Pringle had another nice day, 10 for 82, almost half of that on the 138-yard carry, but that was hitting the hole that was there that we missed against Virginia Tech. So making that play go. Carson back another, 80% completions. Yes, he had the ball he wanted to pull back that got intercepted, but 23 for 29, 3 tuds, 267. Malachi Tony with another touchdown. Burn the Mark Fletcher pass option play, burn it with fire. No, he's not the guy. He's not the guy for that. But yeah, no, we have better dudes. And when they're playing the way that they can play, this is what it's going to look like. And, Pat Narduzzi talked all that game about not caring about the Notre Dame game and abdicating that game because his team embodied what he said. They didn't even give opposition to Notre Dame, but saying, hey, if we go win the next two. Now, they did what we needed to beat Georgia Tech. We didn't get any other help to make the ACC championship game, but whatever. But this is what it looks like. Like, we have a clearly better roster. We have way more talent than them. And when we play to our standard, this is how things are going to go. Shout out to Malachi Tony breaking Amon Richards' freshman receiving record. He's now 2 catches away from the all-time single-season receptions record as a true freshman. Today named the ACC Rookie and Offensive Rookie of the Year for his incredible performance. And 3 or 4 of those 13 catches were on jet touch passes, but whatever, give him the ball. But also you see 8 receivers, I do believe, and, Marty Brown, 1 catch was a touchdown. Elijah Lofton, 1 catch was a touchdown thrown by Malachi Tony. JoJo Trader, 1 catch, big 10-yard play. Dalen Upshaw, 1 catch, doing his best Malachi Tony jet touch pass impression there. It was just, and CJ Daniels finally getting back in the scorebook really. And especially with the touchdown at the end. Look, I know Steve Sarkisian wants to try to talk stuff because you want to pick out people to belittle to make your case for the college football playoff. First of all, they lost to a team that we dominated. I don't want to hear anything from Texas. Thanks, bye. Second of all, we were running the ball with Marty Brown, 3rd string running back, and Pat Narduzzi started calling timeouts. But you want to call timeouts? Blur up top. Cool. Because we were cool with 31-7. That's how we were operating. Now you want to try to extend the game. Now you want to call timeouts? Up top. And then Bryce Fitzgerald ends it with the interception. That was a clinic. So love to see it. Emphatic victory. A larger margin of victory against Pittsburgh than Notre Dame had. We had a larger margin of victory in 3 of 4 common opponents. Although the College Football Playoff Committee says it's typed in their rules that they are not incenting margin of victory, so margin of victory and style points are not part of the consideration. So says their criteria, but we know that they're liars anyway, so whatever. But regardless of anybody else, this is what I've been talking about Miami handling Miami's business, doing what we need to do, how we need to do it consistently. And we did that. So very, excited with that. 10 wins 2 years in a row for the first time since 04-05 or 03 and 04, one of those two. I think it was 04 and 05. But whatever. It's been 20 years. So that is a step forward. That is objectively good. I was talking with a friend of mine the other day. I remember being on this here show in the summer, and we were going through permutations of, I predicted 11-1. You said 10-2. Other people said 10-2, but then we were doing the game theory of so what does 10-2 look like? And I said, Miami lost to 2 teams that are both 8-4, they're quality teams, but you're going to, there's no good loss. You know what I mean? You will have played down below and lost to a team that you're more talented than and going to be, favored in those games. I said that then, and, that unfortunately came to pass. So that is a fly in the ointment for sure. But based upon the on-field result, the on-field performance, Miami is looking really, really good. I'm not going to sit here and try to make sense out of nonsense and try to convince people who have already made their mind up that Miami is not a college football playoff team. The team is playing some of its best football that we've seen. I think it's even better than the beginning of the year when we got up to number 2 because there's diversity of scheme on offense and Carson Beck really being comfortable in his own skin and own body and own arm now and everything. But hey, I mean, I feel what I feel. And I've also said that 10-2 with, 6-2 in conference and not making the ACC championship game is going to mean that we're going to be on that side looking in, same as last year. And I unfortunately believe that to be true, regardless of the results this next weekend. I know that people I even see people in the chat asking the question, and we'll talk about it, about, well, what about the results and how, and Hunter Yurachek said, well, teams can move up and down. He's a liar. It's a coordinated campaign against Miami. Whatever. Like, y'all believe that if you want to. The ship has sailed for me. But, this is a very good team. It will be a crying shame not to be in the college football playoff, because last year we were half a team. Now, the half a team that we were was incredible with the number one offense in America. This is a complete team. This is a team that would, other teams want to keep us out because they're scared about seeing us in the playoffs. But they're not going to see us in the playoffs because we're going to be kept out. And there ends my opening soliloquy.
Okay. Before I state anything that I am going to state about the college football playoff, I hope the chat is a little bit smarter, takes a little bit smarter approach than it did the last time that I pushed back on Miami's qualifications for a playoff, because they clearly stated I was playing devil's advocate and I was taking up the cause of some other teams. Mm-hmm. Let me state out of the gate, everyone, I have Miami ranked ahead of Notre Dame. Okay. All right. I could make a case, a reasonable case, when we're looking at the teams that are supposedly competing against Miami for the final spot or two, which in my case, or in my mind, are Vanderbilt, Texas, BYU, Alabama, Notre Dame. Mm-hmm. I could make a case for all of them, a reasonable case.
Okay.
I don't think we've got to go through all of them. The Texas case is basically they went and played arguably the best team in the country, the number one team in the country, and lost by a touchdown, and they didn't need to play that game. And if they didn't play the game, and actually, if you're ranking performance and not results, that performance, losing that game, is actually more impressive than like 97% of the wins in this country. If you really look at, if you would go down every team's schedule and look at their wins, losing by a touchdown to the best team in the country on the road is a more impressive performance. Now, Texas, yes, they lost to Florida. I do not believe that Texas should be in the playoff. I don't know what's being written in the chat right now. I do not believe that Texas should be in the playoff as it stands right now. I do believe that Texas is one of the 12 best teams in the country. I think those are two different things, at least the way I approach things. I would not award teams based on what I thought who was the best. I would look at resumes. I'm a resume guy. So Texas lost to Florida. They should be out. However, they beat Texas A&M. They beat Vanderbilt. They beat Oklahoma. They beat three teams close to ranked in the top 10 in the country. They have an extremely impressive resume in terms of wins. They struggled against bad teams. They lost to Florida. They shouldn't be in. But Steve Sarkisian does have a point. If college football does not correct scheduling, then you're going to have an incentive to not schedule difficult games out of conference, because Texas can wipe the floor with 3 Louisiana Monroes or 4 non-conference and then go 6-2 in the SEC, and they're fine. And there's a lot of programs that can do that. So there's no incentive to go play Ohio State on the road.
Well, I mean, next year it'll be 7-2, but they got their doors blown off by Georgia by 25, and they lost.
It was a close game in the worst
team in captivity. Like, yeah, no, that.
I don't know if Florida's really, but I think Florida's a pretty comparable team to like SMU and Louisville. If they played those teams.
Not this season, they weren't.
They can play with those two teams.
Not this season, they were not.
They can play with
by what Texas. They did on the field. Okay, I'm just gonna knock it. I'm just not gonna. They're not.
I'm not saying that their resumes is good. Their record's horrible.
Because their performance was horrible.
but they beat Texas, and they took Ole Miss to the final drive of the game, and they have other performances. They took Georgia to the final drive of the game. They played some pretty good football when they had it together.
All right.
So
I'm just not gonna
know
say
that
anything.
Florida could beat Louisville or SMU.
Could.
You know that they could win that game.
They did not have that kind of performance this year. Their resume, their demonstrable on-field performance is not that. It was not that. So we're getting into Notre Dame hypothetical, categories. Like that's
not hypothetical. They played well against Georgia, Texas, Ole Miss, and whoever else I just named. They played very good games against like 4 really quality opponents. Like,
that has nothing to do with Texas. I mean, Texas is still disqualified for losing to Florida, so I don't know what we're talking about. Even
I'm just letting you know that records. If we go beyond records, we know that records are the first criteria. That's the first thing we should look at
because we play to win the game.
But to say that Louisville and SMU are demonstrably better football teams than Florida,
I absolutely will say that for this year. Absolutely, 100%.
I don't think they are.
Okay, we disagree. Moving on.
Okay. And then, we can make Vanderbilt's 10-2 playing in the toughest conference. So I think they're probably underranked. I don't know what they're ranked right now. I think 14. So I would rank them higher. I do rank them higher than that. BYU's obviously 11-1. They're going to play in a conference championship game. So that's going to tell us a lot. They're an 11-1 football team. If we're going to go by record, they should be ranked ahead of Miami. If we're going to go by record,
I agree.
But they're playing in a conference championship game. So I think for BYU, it's going to come down to, obviously, if they win, they're in. Then we're inspecting Texas Tech, but they're never going to fall from 4 to whatever to get knocked out. So obviously, Miami's rooting for BYU, rooting for Texas Tech. Get BYU in blowout fashion. Just get them out of the way, and then that will be that. And really, those are the teams that. And then we've got an Alabama situation if they lose badly in an SEC championship game. Now, if they lose by a score or a competitive football game, then they should be in the playoff because they shouldn't be penalized for playing a team that they just beat that's like the 3rd best team in the country, according to the rankings.
Right, but the gerrymandering is the rankings because they moved Alabama into position that would justify keeping them in. So you have almost half of the field, 5 SEC teams, by the current placement. I disagree with the fact that they are above Miami at present. I disagree. We don't even need to go over Notre Dame. We beat them on the field. There's nothing else to talk about. But it is what it is. But all these things being put together, the committee has shown their hand in a coordinated way with the narratives that they're pushing, with ESPN across their suite of channels talking shit about Miami week after week, and then having to try to walk that back. Survives a scare at Virginia Tech in a game that we led by double digits for the last 35 minutes, or 42 minutes, of the game. You know what I mean? Like, all these different kinds of things. They've shown us who they are. It's not happening, guys. And if I am wrong and something happens where they about face, but you see it every week. So at the first rankings, it was there is no conversation or comparison between Miami and Notre Dame because they're not in the same competitive or evaluative fields. Bullshit on its face, but fine. We keep winning. All right, well, they're close. Now we're in the same thing, and they're releasing these conversation group pods. And then they say, well, there has been no comparison. Or we're just or there was a comparison to Miami and Notre Dame, but Notre Dame's still 4 spots above Miami. How in the world? Fine. Then now there is no 1-to-1 comparison at all between Miami and Notre Dame. It's a group, and all of a sudden it's Alabama and Notre Dame, and then the collective of these 4 or 5 teams. Like, it's bullshit on its face, it's farcical, and they say whatever they want to. And this is why every week when I'm live tweeting what Hunter Yurachek is saying, they're cutting off their nose to spite their face. They're talking out the side of their neck. Like, there is no logical foundation. But at the heart, if you cut all that noise away, is the thing that I told you in July. 10-2, 6-2 in conference, and not going to Charlotte means Miami does not make the playoffs. Everything else be damned. That is the thesis statement of my paper, of this research paper, of my dissertation. That is the core tenet. And all the other stuff is noise. It's fleeting in the wind, because that universal truth is what they will do. And that is the only thing that they're going to use as precedence, because last year was y'all didn't beat anybody, and it didn't necessarily look good when you beat teams. We've beaten people. Notre Dame. Florida began the season as a top 15 team. USF had just beaten Florida and was a top 20 team that had an inside track to the college football playoff. And as I look here, give me one quick second. University of South Florida. I scroll down. We held them by far to the fewest points that they scored all year. Blew their doors off, right? Then you see what happened when we played Pittsburgh. You saw what we did to Florida State. You see all these other things, but they want to throw the baby out with the bathwater, because at the end of the day, you lost 2 games. You turned the ball over 4 times against Louisville. And look, we didn't win the game, and there were some really, 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 really terrible calls in the SMU game. But at the end of the day, we lost. Fine. None of that matters. Miami is held to a different evaluative standard than anybody else. It doesn't. None of this matters. I'm telling you. And if I am wrong, I will let y'all know I'm wrong next week. Cool. Absolutely. I'm unfortunately going to stand on the business that I said way back in June and July. And unfortunately, it's about to come true on Sunday noontime.
Yeah, I don't hear the ESPN rhetoric. I don't watch any of those guys, and I don't see it. So I don't know.
I'm just talking.
Any of these.
It's on. It had been on every single game broadcast for 3 weeks. Not even talking about the studio shows, but like what they were feeding to the play-by-play announcer and the color commentator. Like every game, all day long, ABC, ESPN, ESPN2, ESPNU, SEC Network, ACC Network. But hey, it is what it is. But at the end of the day, 10-2, 6-2, didn't go to Charlotte. Last year, they said the reasons why that 10-2 did not have the gravitas needed to make the college football playoff. We have addressed all of those issues with the formation of our 10 wins this year. And it's not going to mean a goddamn thing.
My last statement on this is, regardless of who makes the playoffs, there's going to be a collection of teams, 2 or 3 teams probably, amongst Miami, BYU, Vanderbilt, Texas, Notre Dame, Alabama, I guess. I don't see them missing the playoffs, but they might.
They won't.
That I could make an argument at the end of next weekend when they miss the playoffs that there are going to be teams that get left out that have as good a resumes as teams that are in. That's just, there's always going to be a logjam at the bottom of the rankings, meaning the bottom of the rankings of the top 11 that go into the playoff. That is going to create a logjam of 9-3, 10-2 teams that are going to be very difficult to distinguish. That's going to happen every year.
I guess. Looking at it, I would have BYU at 8, Miami at 9, everybody else behind that. Boom. And again, giving them, because they won the games on their schedule. You have to honor that. This is why we have competitive sport, for a winner and a loser, not a fucking participation trophy because you want to go and spin a goddamn narrative 3 months after we beat your fucking asses on national television, right? No. So and cool. They won more games. They didn't lose. That's what this is about. But, hey.
The scheduling needs to be addressed. because the
It is what it
schedules
is.
are all over the place.
I mean, look, throw it up. The X, talking to TRX. Yeah, I mean, Duke made the conference championship game and didn't play the numbers 2, 3, 4, and 5 teams in conference this year. Like, what are we
I'm talking about in conference and out of conference scheduling
Oh, yeah.
needs to be addressed because
It does.
teams are playing wildly varying difficulties of schedule.
Indeed. Falconer again, assisting the runner penalty. Isn't that football? Apparently, they don't call it. And wasn't Anez Cooper, it was Matthew McCoy, excuse me, was falling into the end zone, blocking a guy, and his arm touched the shoulder. It wasn't this, it was this. So they called that, which is, and I said this on the other podcast that I do, and I leave the stats up for this reason. I'm going to read you the description of this penalty because it's hilarious. Verbatim. 1st and 4. Shamar Brown rush up the middle for a gain of 4 yards to the Pitt 0. End of play. First down. Clock is 5:21. Penalty Miami on Matthew McCoy enforced 0 yards from the end of the play at the Pitt 0 to the Pitt 0 and results in a first down. I'm sorry? So the play ended in the end zone for a touchdown, and there's a penalty that is enforced 0 yards from the 0 to the 0. So the end zone to the end zone, and it's a first down. That's the official. I leave the stats page up for reasons like this. That's the official listing of this penalty. And then it was 1st and goal on the 4 again. Huh? Like, again, and my computer's crashed. I've reloaded this page several times, things like that. That is what is officially listed as this penalty. From the 0 to the 0 for 0 yards, first down, Miami. Like, you can't even make it up, bro. Like, it's just, it's laughable. But, that still didn't deter us from, kicking their teeth in, but a ridiculous penalty to begin with, and the listing and enforcement of, because when they had 1st and goal again on the 4 after that play, I was like, so what? Like, it just didn't, like, so there's no assessment, there's no from the spot, or it just. And on the play-by-play, the next play was a 4-yard touchdown run by Mark Fletcher. So, what? I don't know. But yeah, craziness. Only at the U, or only against the U, as it were.
Get Leroy the Black Ninja Turtle. Appreciate you being here, man. I'm glad the nation got to see how bad our ref are.
Refs plural, but pretty bad. Wish they would have seen and done something on a couple of the other games and plays and calls that were also very impactful. Whatever. If Miami gets in, they beat OSU at home for the Natty. We have a long road to hoe before we get to Hard Rock Stadium for the national championship game against anyone. So, I don't like the first word of that super chat, if, is doing a lot of heavy lifting before we even get to the rest of the content. You know what I mean?
Maybe Falconer and I have a wager in our future.
Oh, well, put your money where your mouth is. Between y'all, my name Paul, that's between y'all. But yeah, I think that first word is doing a lot of heavy lifting. I'm not of the opinion that Miami makes the playoffs anyway. But again, I will definitely be here next week, Wednesday, and happily eating some humble pie and a whole heap of crow if we make it in. But I just don't see that happening.
I may disturb the chat with this one, but win something first. Win a playoff game. Win the conference.
This is a Miami show. We're going to
national
move on.
Championship games.
This is a Miami show. We're going to move on. CFC Cane fan, if BYU loses the title game, I feel like the Canes will get in. There are a lot of people who have said that to me in here. They've said it in the comments of videos of other podcasts, the other podcasts that I do on social media. I hear you. I understand what you were saying. Respectfully, I disagree. So I'm disagreeing without being disagreeable. I'm not screaming at you. I'm not anything like that. I do not share that viewpoint.
Here is the approach I would take to that game. If I truly believed that going into the game, that BYU should be ranked ahead of Miami, then if BYU plays the number 4 team in the country well, if it's a highly competitive game, I don't know how isn't the number 11 team in the country or whatever they're ranked supposed to lose to the number 4 team in the country? Like, how do you drop the number 11 team losing to the number 4 team? Now, if they get smacked around, I think that's the way that needs to be evaluated. If you believe that BYU should be ranked ahead of Miami right now.
I mean, I do, but also as well, in addition, I believe that both teams should be multiple spots, like 4 spots higher than, so like
there are people out there that believe Miami should be ranked higher than BYU. And I'm not saying that that's a bad take, because I look at it a little differently than you do in regards to record.
I mean, record and resume are inextricably linked in my mind. Like,
of course they are.
Like we play to win the game. So, Mr. HD says he's been here watching us for 5 or 6 years, man. Appreciate you, bro. Thank you for rocking with us. Thank you for continuing to be here.
Falcon Rex says the SEC has as many bad teams as the ACC, maybe more.
And all you have to do is look at Notre Dame's schedule, because they played all the worst ones from every conference.
I'm not going to address that one.
They did. I mean, like,
no, not the Notre Dame comment.
But the bad ones were very bad, and Notre Dame played all of them. Like they beat up.
To be fair to Notre Dame, their ACC schedule, I assume, is some kind of collaboration between them and the ACC. And as I heard it explained this past offseason, it goes heavy because these schools make the money. Clemson signed a contract with them, so that's another deal. But Clemson, Florida State, Miami get more games against Notre Dame than the underlings of the conference, because the ACC wants more premier games. That's how I understand. So it's not like a perfect round robin of teams that go through Notre Dame's schedule. That's how I understand it. Okay. Like, they see Florida State more, they see Miami more, they see Clemson more than the other teams. Slightly, to some degree. They didn't, obviously, this year. They saw Miami and then nobody else.
Hey, that's none of my business. But yeah. CFC Kane fan. Sorry, was there anything else that you wanted to bring up with the college football play? Well, actually, Falconer says Miami leads Notre Dame to make the college football playoff on Miami's 100th birthday, or the centennial year of the University of Miami. And then he continued on with the other stuff about, who would play and yada, yada, yada. I just don't see it. I just don't. Like, this is me being practical, pragmatic, Cam, like I've always been. I just don't see it. So, hope I'm wrong.
Yeah, that's going to be the thing that's going to make this a joke more than there are other things to pick at, is that Miami beat Notre Dame on the field. So,
in every instance, continuing of a team playing and beating another team, the victorious team is ranked above the team that lost. Except for every single ranking of the college football playoff this year, with exclusively Miami and Notre Dame. In every other instance, the team that won that game is ranked above the team with the same record. They are ranked above the team that they beat, as it should be. But so
where are we? Falconers line these up quite a bit here.
I got one before you. Well, we'll get there. If Notre Dame and Miami are both out, I can honestly, at this point, yeah, they need to be both in or both out. It's not.
Yeah.
Like they should either both be in or both be out. But if it's one, it has to be the team that won the game. Like that's where it goes. Like I think that they're very closely linked. I'm not saying that we should be number 1 and they should be number 17 or anything stupid like that. I'm not saying that we should be 8 spots ahead of them like they put us behind Notre Dame in the first rankings. I'm not saying anything like that. But
yeah. I personally am okay with 1 spot because I think otherwise the teams are very comparable, inseparable, strength of schedule, strength of record, about how badly they beat these. They've got a lot of common opponents. Unfortunately, most of them are bad outside of Pitt. But just flat out, Miami won the game.
Right. So if there's one, it should be Miami. Otherwise, both in or both out. But the thing is, it's going to be one, and it's going to go to the other team that we beat head up. So yeah. Anyways, yikes. CFC Kane fan going to recruiting, the wonderful world of recruiting. Does Darion Coleman have the talent to start as a true freshman? So today was National Signing Day. We're just going to call it that now. I know it's the first day of the early signing period. This is National Signing Day. Everybody signs. So Miami had 29 players committed in this class. We parted ways at our behest. It was said mutually, but we kind of told Anthony Kennedy Jr. to seek shelter elsewhere. I heard that was on the books or on the board. I was very upset that broke an hour after I finished his notebook because I had to write 30 of these darn things, but whatever. But yeah, so we had 29 players committed. Everybody signed. And then we also got Karsten Bush, former Louisville commit from Louisville, St. Xavier High School, who just decommitted from there. Corey Hedeman loves him, and got him to, sign today. So we end up with 30 players signed. You should go to stateoftheu.com. There's a notebook for every single player. There was the live diary of the day today list, with all of the players as they officially signed from the University of Miami, as in when the University of Miami can speak their name or put it in public because, of rules and everything. So yeah, Hassan Kaab, please hit the like button. So,
and I apologize if I knocked off the comment that you were referring to. I forgot that.
I got it. It's fine. No worries. But yeah, so do hit the like button, like Hassan Kiab said. But Darion Coleman is the quarterback in this class, and he's from Orlando Jones, and he is a player that I am not as high on as other people. I'm just going to put it out there. He does have good arm talent. Mario Cristobal said that Darion Coleman reminds the coach of Cam Ward in that he will throw from a lot of arm angles and things like that. He is small and slight of frame. He is generously listed at 6'1". I think he's closer to 5'11", maybe 6 foot flat. Which is how tall I am. So, I'm not casting aspersions in life. I am casting aspersions for playing quarterback at the University of Miami. But also he's listed at 6'1.5" inches. He's not that tall. If they're listing with 6'1.5" inches, he's not that tall. And 165 pounds is also maybe generous. He is small and slight of frame, and though that presents issues. He has to work out of shotgun. We have to, extend our splits a little bit with the offensive line, even if it's a half step, because at that size, you can't see over the line. And that we have giants up front. In this class alone, Jackson Cantwell is 6'8", or 6'7.5", 6'8". Ben Congdon, the other tackle, 6'8". Joel Irvin, who's probably going to play guard, 6'6", almost 6'7". Reese Woodrow, 6'4". JJ Sparks, 6'4". I'm missing somebody. Cannon Pickett, 6'4", right? And that's on top of other guys that are still here. Samson Okunlola, 6'6". Matthew McCoy, 6'6". Derek Plaz, 6'5". We have monsters up front. And even at center, when you have a 6'3", 6'4" center, that's just measurements, bro. And what that does is it changes how you call and run plays, because the middle of the field is gone because you can't see, right? And you see this with other quarterbacks of similar stature. They have to move around. You have to change the launch point, and it's really going to be half field reads, and you're going to be reading from just inside the hash to the sideline because there are fewer bodies there. I know Darion Coleman has talent. I know that he played very well in high school. I know that he's a borderline, he's a blue chip player. He went to the 11 finals. I'm not saying that he's absolute dumpster juice. I'm not saying that he's Judd Anderson. I just have major concerns for a player that size playing that position here. So, and I know that I am a little bit in the minority on that thought process with Coleman. I know that he has dotted people up like in 7-on-7. Look, and he's played very well in high school as well. College football ain't high school, guys. And that's my view of it. So can he maybe fashion a role here eventually? Yes. The answer to the question, I will say, I personally do not believe he has the talent to start as a true freshman in Miami. And we are not in a position where this is on-the-job training. I do not believe that he has that kind of talent to step in and lead us where we need to go as a freshman. I personally don't see it. So that's my answer to the question. Any big flips to us or away that we should know about from today? We were trying to flip Amari Latimer from Sandy Springs, 4-star running back. He was committed to Wisconsin to play with his brother, who was a defensive back on the Badgers. He flipped instead to West Virginia. Apart from that, there's nothing relative to us. Chris Henry Jr. Is considering if he's going to go to Columbus because Brian Hartline is finally freaking leaving there. And as the head coach of USA, he's just been a fucking terror in the world of recruiting. And so Chris Henry Jr. is evaluating, that. But if he were to go somewhere else, it would probably be USC or Oregon. So that doesn't apply to us. I don't know if Anthony Tank Jones, 5-star defensive lineman, signed, but even if he didn't, I don't believe that he would be considering us. So, the other things that were one time on the board, like James Johnson, the defensive tackle who's from the West Coast of Florida and transferred to Miami Northwestern for his senior year. He actually signed with Texas, like things like that. So we tried to shoot our shot at, 5 stars, but no, then there was nothing relative for us.
Can you remember this little drama on what is actually National Signing Day? It's, again, not technically, but like you say, there usually seems to be a lot more to talk about in regards to who was gained and lost.
Yeah, recent movement. Now there are moves being made in the world of college football in terms of recruiting. It's just nothing relative to the University of Miami. So, we dropped a kid who wasn't really going to play here, and there were some questions about his build and his senior film, Anthony Kennedy, that was. So, there was that. But no, I really can't. This has been pretty locked down. 30 commits. They've all signed and everything, so they're all in. I don't know if there's anything else in here. I will say I got a couple of minutes. We can make this happen. If you wouldn't mind, Mark, just going to the top, I'm going to do a quick 20 seconds on each player just to give you guys the overview. Again, there is a bespoke notebook for every single player on stateoftheu.com. I cannot impress this upon you enough. I work really, really hard on these things. One of my greatest compliments I've ever gotten, Jackson Cantwell quoted the tweet of my notebook and said, "This is the best evaluation I have seen of my game.
Wow.
Almost ever. This is what I do and how I do it. Y'all go check that out." That was so validating for me because I just, awesome. I mean, like, dude, come on, man. So I really put a lot of time and care into these things. And I really hope that you guys interact with them and enjoy them. And, you can reference them in the future because, these are for, I don't do 1 year profile or, outlooks now. I do it for the career so we can go back and look and see later. Top of the class, number one.
And there's simply, obviously, a few heavy hitters that have evaluated one Jackson Cantwell,
Yeah. And I mean,
so
look,
for him to say that, that's
right.
That's good. That's great stuff.
No, that was really, really just gratifying for me, man. And, I include, 247 evaluations or whatever ones I see out there in those as well. So I'm not saying every single word was mine because, I did put in other people's public evaluations as players, but like that was really just incredibly gratifying. So, yeah. Anyway, quick rundown. We're going to go 15, 20 seconds a player. I'm going to be done with this in it's going to take me 8 minutes because we have so many players, but whatever. Jackson Cantwell, Nixon, Missouri, number one tackle in the class. He was the number one player for the majority of this cycle. He is 5-star, everybody's All-American, the best prospect in the world. He's going to start as a freshman, 3 years in the first-round draft pick, following Penei Sewell, following, Francis Mawinoa, and we just keep that rolling. Samorian Wingo is a 6'2" wide receiver who has been one of the biggest risers this year. He's a very, very good player. He can play inside and outside. He's a dog. Finds ways just to, continue to fight through coverage. He's a crisp route runner. This is a player who I think is going to play early, as blue chip gets. And alongside him, Milan Parrish from Stowe, Ohio, Walsh Jesuit, massive kid, 6'5", 6'6". He's a size and speed combo guy. You want the ceiling of performance and potential of somebody like a Tommy Streeter from years ago. Now, I know he didn't get there, but that's the kind of profile that Milan Parrish has. Really, really, those two at the top of the wide receiver group lead the way for what I believe to be the best wide receiver class that we've signed in a good long time. And this class overall being one of the better classes we've signed in a good long time. Keyshawn Stansel, former Clemson commit, and Milan Parrish is a former Iowa State commit, by the way. From North Carolina, one of the best defensive tackle prospects in America, 6'3", 270. He can play 3 tech, he can play 5 tech. Just put on the film, which I've already given you in the notebook. This is a player who I think is going to work his way into rotational snaps as a freshman. All these guys at the top of the class should be the core foundation, eventual starting players for this roster. These are all elite blue chip players, of the highest caliber. J.J. Dunnigan from Manhattan, Kansas. His father played 1 year at Purdue, transferred, sat out, and then he played in K-State. Former Kansas commit, Gatorade Player of the Year in the state of Kansas, led Manhattan High School to their first championship ever, where he had 110 yards receiving, 2 touchdowns, and then also played on defense. This is a kid who's 6'2", almost 6'3", played in the Under Armour All-American game, was really one of the standouts. Mario Cristobal today said they wanted to get involved in his recruitment, and luckily things just kind of broke that way. J.J. Dunnigan, I've been kind of bandying this about, my favorite player in this class. And you'll see from the state championship game, he catches a touchdown, mosses a dude, and then he screams in his face. And as he's going to flex, the dude does this really bad McCracken basketball camp kind of flop thing. And he didn't even look at him in the display. So he mossed him, told him about it, and then flexes in his face. That's my kind of guy. Built right now like Jacoby Thomas, like this kid. My favorite recruit in the class. Ashari Charles from Venice, twitchy edge rusher, a little bit shorter than you like at 6'2", but very physical, very strong, and quick as lightning off that edge. 17.5 sacks, I do believe, this year, or one of the state leaders in sacks. He might have been second this year and had 17.5 last year. But he's one of the 2 edge rushers in this class. Camden Portis, son of Clinton Portis, He's more of your nickel star inside corner, but this is a guy who is here on his own merits, not just because of his last name. He can play very, very well. Another All-American type talent coming down from Charlotte Myers Park High School, so didn't even go to like really, Charlotte Independence or one of the major powerhouses there, but a very good academic school, so, that makes sense. But yeah, this is a kid who's coming in, so he has a different kind of profile than some of the other corners, more inside than out, but very solid player, another blue chip kind of All-American talent. Gavin Mueller from South Elgin, Illinois, basketball player turned tight end. We've had great success with those. When you see his film in his notebook, you're going to laugh. Wildcat quarterback, running back, wide receiver, tight end, linebacker, safety, defensive end. Like, he did it all. I think he had 30 total touchdowns on offense, and they kind of just put him at wildcat quarterback and ran inverted veer in QB power. And he looks like a man amongst boys. He's in fast forward in comparison to his competition, but playing the level of competition that he played, he should look like he's in fast forward versus everybody else. So he looks the way that you would expect from a major blue chip prospect. This is a guy who was, like a double-double basketball player before he came to football. I'm very, very, very excited for Gavin Mueller. Jalen Seatbelt Waters, Sefner Armwood, 6'1", almost 6'2", long arm corner, one of the best corners in America. This is a kid who was previously committed to first Florida and then Florida State in his recruitment, or Florida State then Florida, whatever. He's been committed to all three big three schools, and he ends up with the biggest, baddest bullies down here in Coral Gables. He's a guy who has the athletic profile at corner that we have not gotten onto the roster, something similar to a Cormani McLean from a physical build standpoint. Those big, long corners like that, we have not gotten on this roster, but we have one in Jalen Waters. Ben Congdon, your number 2 tackle in this class. I believe he's 6'8", but listed as 6'7", 285 from Ohio. This is a kid who is a championship wrestler as well, one of the early commits to this group. Blue chip talent. He'll probably have a longer timeline to the field than Jackson Cantwell, who I fully expect to start as a true freshman. But you have that there. So another blue chip talent for the Great Wall of Mirabal. I'm going to skip down to Joel Irvin. This is a player who was listed as a tackle before, but then actually will probably play guard, 6'6", 330. It would not surprise me if Joel Irvin and Jackson Cantwell were the new Anez Cooper and Maui Noah on the right side next year. Like, this kid is big, he's mean, he's physical. You see what he does on the field. Wow. Go back up one for me. And that's Jordan Campbell from Miami Northwestern. He's actually moved to a different school in each of the last 5 years, but it is what it is. Listed at edge, he's actually he was the first player to commit in this class when he was playing off-ball linebacker for Hialeah American and then Carroll City. Miami listed him at linebacker, and Mario Cristobal described him at linebacker in this class of signees. So I know that he played, like, I forget the guy's name, Samuel Brooks. It just came to me, who used to be a linebacker, but then, at Northwestern, but then he went to be a stand-up edge rusher. Jordan Campbell did that for Northwestern. That's what they usually do. They find these just twitched up dudes. They can play linebacker, get up to the line, see ball, get ball, and they do that and everything. But we're going to play him back at his original position of linebacker where he was Under Armour All-American. So expect that. Had to actually, and I started the notebook looking at him as a linebacker, and I looked at his listing. I said edge. So then I said, okay. And then I looked up his film from Northwestern. I said, oh, they moved him to the Sam Brooks thing. And then I had to go back after the commitment tweet hit today and say, okay, actually, editor's note, I wrote this as edge because it said edge, but they're actually announcing him at linebacker, so we're going to be linebacker. D'Anthony Lafayette from Orlando Lake Nona, he's your leading sacker in the state of Florida with 17.5, former LSU commit. He's smaller than you want. I know that he has a good wingspan, but 6'1", 230, also plays running back. We've seen small edge rushers of this ilk like Thomas Davis and others not necessarily work out here. But we will see. He's been very, very productive. Mark Cristobal is very, excited to have him and spoke very highly of him today. So we'll see how that works out. Hopefully it goes better than what my thought on the situation is, but we shall see. Vance Spafford from Mission Viejo, California, one of the fastest wide receivers in America, clocked sub 4.5 in the 40 laser time. He's also a track guy. Really had a breakout sophomore year, and junior year had he had a worse injury as a junior. He had a minor thing that he's fully recovered from already as a senior. But this is another kid. You can put him in the slot. You can put him outside, and he makes plays all over the field. And when you have that kind of speed, you find ways to use it. So getting him, and he fits in with the culture and everything that everybody said. He, a former Georgia commit, by the way, one of many in this class. Israel Briggs from Clovis, California, has moved schools a couple times. He's your tall, thin, seam target tight end, the guy who plays wide receiver and then moves inside, kind of a thing. He plays all over the field in high school. When you watch his highlights, he actually gets loose on a couple kick returns, punt returns, and tunnel screens and bubble screens that you don't expect from a guy his size. He will take a little bit longer because he will have to develop his body, but he can be a big seam threat. Now, Cortez Redding from Jonesboro, Georgia, had 231 tackles, in the last 2 years of high school. He was a region player, defensive player of the year last year. Those awards have not come out for this past season, but he's a head buster. He's a big physical safety. He's not the biggest in the world. He's not Cam Chancellor size, but he makes his presence felt very strongly. We already talked about Darion Coleman, the quarterback from Orlando Jones. Justin Edwards from Orlando Edgewater is a linebacker who really popped on at camp this year in the spring, really caught the attention of the Hurricane staff with Corey Heatherman coaching linebackers. Former Rutgers commit, flipped him here. Very, very excited about him. Think that he's underrated. Logan Nagel from New Jersey, multiple-time state champion, defensive tackle, formerly committed to Pitt. We were recruiting him all the way. He flips here. This is a guy who should play at least a rotation role in the future. Isaac Chukwura, Cristobal called him Big Chuk, but I will call his entire name Isaac Chukwura from Carville Academy in Bear, Delaware. He was formerly committed to Penn State and started looking at his options when they fired James Franklin. He has won all of the awards in Delaware. He's the best. Regional player of the year, defensive player of the year, offensive lineman of the year, and backed that up multiple times across last year and this year. Definitely a guy who can, play. He played more on the edge, but he'll move inside in college. Karsten Bush, St. Xavier from Louisville, formerly committed to Louisville. This is another player that Corey Heatherman loves and had been recruiting. And when he decommitted last week, the game was afoot. And then he visited Miami from Friday to Saturday when we got back, or he was here during the game. And then when the team came back, he extended his official visit and left on Monday. But yeah, that is a good get. 6'3", almost 230. Think Mohamed Toure before all the ACL issues. He has that size and athleticism to be your middle backer in a Corey Heatherman scheme. So you have that. Javian Mallory, the running back from West Boca, led West Boca to their first state championship last year. One cut and go back. He does have some long touchdown runs. He's not the fastest player. His style on film is very similar to Frank Gore as to how he, like a young Frank Gore without that super duper explosiveness. But the way that he runs the ball, I would say, is probably more akin to Frank Gore after the ACLs, but just the way his body looks and the way that he moves on the field. Brody Jennings, brother of Bradley Jennings Jr., son of Bradley Jennings Sr., who unfortunately he passed away in the spring, tragically at a very young age, because he and I were very contemporarily aged in his 40s. But previously committed to Michigan. Miami stuck with him all along through the recruiting process, and specifically when dealing with the tragic loss of his father in a way that I do not believe other teams did. And that family nature and that relationship through thick and thin won out. This is a player, 6'1", 175, long arm corner, foundational player in the secondary for Jacksonville Mandarin. Very excited to get him down here. Jontavius Wyman is teammates with Cortez Redding at Jonesboro, Georgia. Jontavius Wyman, when I was doing these notebooks, Jontavius Wyman might got the juice. He's the two-time reigning region player of the year in Georgia. It was Region 3 of 6A, and then they reclassified Region 3 of 4A. Don't matter. Player of the year, quarterback, running back, wide receiver, safety, linebacker, cornerback. Don't matter where you put him, because you can put him everywhere. This is the best player in the area since he was a sophomore. and he's coming here to play corner exclusively. This is a guy who I definitely think is underrated from watching the film and like just reading up on and doing the research for the notebooks. Very, very excited to have him as yet another cornerback in this class. Tyron Evans from Cornelius, North Carolina. Big Tyron Evans, so says Mario Cristobal, 6'4", 200-pound, big body receiver, formerly committed to Tennessee, had 27 yards of catch as a junior, battled a couple injuries, but still put up very good numbers as a senior. When we were evaluating players in the spring, Evans met with Miami and said that he was a little upset that the U wasn't recruiting him. And Mario Cristobal said he looked him in the face and said, "We are now, son. And Bob's your uncle." So there you go. Cannon Pickett, brother of Booker Pickett Jr., the defensive edge, for Miami, cousin of DJ Pickett, who should have been here, but whatever. From Tampa Bay Tech, he listed as offensive tackle. He will play guard, 6'3" or 6'4", 320. Yeah, he's a guard all the way, and a big and a very good one. But yeah, legacy player, but here on his own right. All that put together. Reese Woodrow from Orlando Boone, a school that I don't remember the last time we got somebody from Orlando Boone, but another offensive guard, 6'4", 310, big, mean streak. Again, you'll see all these guys on film just burying guys that they're blocking. JJ Sparks from Jacksonville Bulls, another school Miami has not had a lot of great recruiting success at, 6'3", 300, another interior offensive lineman. I know Woodrow is also listed tackle. He will play guard. Any of these guys could slide to center. We shall see. But, yeah, big, strong, physical, mean streak on the interior. Tyson Bacon from Hoover, Alabama, two-a-days, if you remember that show way back on MTV. That's the school, same school. Battled a little bit of injury as a senior, but yeah, going to the heart of SEC country, you get a big, strong and surprisingly fast for a man that size defensive tackle to add yet another body into that room with great projectability and great performance already. And am I done? No, the last one. The Haitian sensation himself, Frederick Saintius from Naples, St. John Newman, moved to America only 3 years ago and plays track, basketball, and football. Best football is definitely ahead of him. Big body, like 6'4", 280, is a little bit bigger than what he's listed there. Speaks 4 languages, according to Mario Cristobal, so he'll have somebody to habla español with in the locker room and everything. But yeah, this is a recent migrant from Haiti. Him and his family left for, you got to get away for certain reasons. I might have put that in a notebook. I might have linked it to another piece from a Naples newspaper out there. But yeah, definitely projecting to the future for Saintius. But even still, you look at his senior film and what he did. And again, very early in his football journey to have the size that he has, the movement skills he has, the performance that he displayed, all of that put together is in a nice little package where you can have guys that you think that can play right now, and then also have a goodie box developmental for the future, like a Saintius, to maybe, not pay off in 2026, but 27, 28, and down the line. And that, my friends and fellow Hurricanes, is the entire recruiting class. Again, stateoftheu.com, there is a bespoke individual notebook for each and every one of those players. You want to know what their ranking is. You want to know a little bit more about their journey as players and recruits. You want to have a look at them as with evaluation from me, and then in a lot of instances, other people, and then what their outlook is in this roster, where it fits, and then for the future. All of that for the low, low price of free. I can't say anything else. And I got a cosign from Jackson Cantwell. Jackson Cantwell, if it's good enough for him, it's good enough for you. Please go over there and fan with us. Whew. Man.
And while you take a breath, I'll say amen to Falcon Rex here. Notre Dame needs to either get in or out of the ACC, but I will say don't blame Notre Dame. They do what they can get away with, just like anybody else. I kind of liken them to my kids when they were like 5 years old. Is it their fault that they do whatever they want? No, it's my fault. So college football needs to rein in Notre Dame because they're going to do whatever they want. But you're right.
Coach it, right. You either coach it or you allow it. And clearly we're allowed. It is being enabled and allowed at this time. So yeah, I also agree with you. What quarterback are we getting in the portal next month, says Falconer TRX? I mean, if I'm just wildly speculating or who I would like, Jaron Chiave, Sanga Politele from Cal. That's my one. That's my one. A good friend of mine, he has a major aversion and hatred of left-handed quarterbacks. I suffer from no such compunction. Play them. Play them. Like, yeah, that's my dude. Yeah, man. So, I mean, I would take JKS. Sam Levitt from Arizona State is on the board. I do not want Lenore Sellers. I think that he is Kyron Drones with an extra scoop of Wheaties. He can't, and for me, he can't see it and he can't throw it. And I'm thinking of specific instances. Take the result of the game out. You remember at SMU when we converted those 3rd and 7s with dig routes and tight windows to Keelan Marion? Remember those throws? Because I do. Remember that last 3rd down conversion before we went up top for the touchdown at Pitt? Remember that on 3rd and 5 when we got 7 yards and Carson put that ball right in there? Lenore Sellers is not making that throw. He's not making any of those throws. So, yeah, I am not – I do not like Lenore Sellers at all. And I said that, and the friend I was talking to, he tweeted it out and added me and then added all these other draft people because he's an asshole. He's a troll. So he's trying to get them to be mad. And they're reacting. I said, I stand on it. I do not think that he has the game, specifically because there's going to come times when all that running around, all that QB run, all that, inverted veer, all that, It's 3rd and 11 in a tight game. And I need that throw, boss. He ain't got the range. No, absolutely not. Past that, I did see some people talking about, or in one of my group chats at least, Drew Mestamaker from North Texas, a finalist for the Sean Alexander Award alongside Malachi Tony, by the way. An interesting prospect. I don't know that I trust him at this level right now, but interesting conversation piece. But off the top of my head right now, absent, I mean, there would have to be somebody. Yeah, I would say JKS and Levitt would be at the top of my list presently, and see whatever else might be out there. I know that he's younger, and I know that he led my Miami Hurricanes on the video game sticks to national championships. Does Tavian St. Clair stick around to sit behind Julian Sand for 3 more years? Or, at least another year, and then it be 2027 till he sees the field? Does he do that? Are there other blue chip guys who are younger, and not necessarily proven, but who you think we can go get that and whatever, so we'll have to see. But yeah, I would say JKS and Levitt as of today right now would be top of my list.
You want to take us home, Cam? I'm going to go join our Florida State boys.
Yeah, man.
Thanks, man.
Appreciate it. Absolutely. I will stick on here. I know that there's some other super chats, and we got a bunch of people on the line. So appreciate it, Mark. Always good to be here with you. CFC fans, does everyone realize that there's a blueprint for playoffs? This Division I AA and Division II. There's that, but hey, they don't want to do all of that because it's a couple extra games, and bowl games are television shows and money. So, there is that. Mo Canes, Miami plays anybody, anywhere, anytime. Heard that. What's up, Kenzen? I see that there's some other stuff. Sorry, just trying to get through the chat because I stopped scrolling for one of those other comments. What would Lou Holtz say about 77 over Syracuse? I don't feel like lisping that much and wiping my desk from all that spit, but he probably wouldn't say anything great. Hassan Kiab, head-to-head is counts unless Miami beats your team, as we see right now. Miami would expose SEC and Big Ten paper tigers in the CFP. Several of them, I agree. SMU game, yeah, that officiating. It's real bad. I don't talk about that player who is on TV with the worst ideas of the world. Leroy Black Ninja Turtle, we needed to be 11-1 or 12-0 to get in. That's what I said. I'm with you. We agree. We agree, my friend. Absolutely, all the way through. Let me see. ACC shot themselves in the foot by having Duke play Virginia when they could have put Miami in. Absolutely, but they let the result of Stanford, Syracuse, or whatever be the determining factor. But, hey, it is what it is. Dan Mitchell, I don't believe that Matthew McCoy pulled him from the front. I watched that play like 15 times. He did touch the front of Marty Brown's jersey and shoulder pad, but he did not pull him as such. He was already falling or on the ground from having blocked a defensive player. But we can disagree. Can I start advocating that Miami drop Notre Dame and start scheduling good Power 4 teams? It doesn't matter what I advocate for. They're not going to do it. Barry Jackson from the Miami Herald has already reported that the game is tentatively scheduled for November 7th against Notre Dame next year, and that Miami has no intentions of canceling the series or contracts and or engagement through the parasocial relationship that Notre Dame has with the ACC. And I trust Barry Jackson. He's been doing this job almost as long as I've been alive, and I'm sure that he multiply sourced that to report it out there in public. So, yeah. If Duke wins the ACC championship, they won't make the college football playoff. True, but regardless, neither will Miami. Let me see. While I'm still scrolling, please be sure that you like and subscribe. I see a lot of people online right now, and I do appreciate you all. Phillips, whose children up 10 Notre Dame is not just incompetent, it is worse than that. I saw that was said by from Kane's Insight. I do not know that to be true. I cannot confirm that. His kids go to Notre Dame, but if true, that is malfeasance of the highest order. Yeah, people are talking out today, but it's all just. I needed more overt emotion from people this season. I needed more screaming from Mario Cristobal on the sideline, especially when our performance wasn't where it needed to be. I needed Dan Radakovich to be in front of people. You got the goddamn Big 12 commissioner doing the media car wash, going to all these places and all these shows, advocating for BYU and Texas Tech. And the ACC commissioner is nowhere to be seen. That is crazy. Was this the most anticlimactic National Signing Day ever? Yeah, pretty much. It was real low stress for me. It was just coordinating all the content that I was doing and, just updating the live thing and then just, publishing and then tweeting out because Twitter broke the API. So the pieces don't tweet directly anymore. So I have to manually copy the link and go tweet. But that was it. I mean, I fully expected, I had it on good authority that Carson Bush was committing to Miami. So that's how that notebook was already written. People I spoke to recently were 50-50 on Amari Latimer. So I did have one ready for him. But the silence today spoke volumes. And so when I checked it around a little earlier, I was like, oh, yeah, that's not going to happen. But yeah, it was real chill. And I saw somebody else saying Miami didn't have any seismic moves. They didn't make any splash signings. We got the number one goddamn player in America, Jackson Cantwell, the absolute position of need that I've been saying for years in this class. We would need an elite offensive tackle because Francis Mauigoa was going to be leaving. Fine, he ended up as the number 4 player on the composite, but for 2.5 years of the cycle, he was the number 1 player for good reason, right? Any other, if Georgia signed him, if Alabama signed him, if he stayed home at Missouri, it would be leading all the coverage. Oh my God, this is such a seismic move and da-da-da-da. This is so impactful. It's that impactful for Miami. which is why we need to be screaming about that. But yeah, just because there was no drama from the time that Jackson Cantwell committed till now. He committed, set it, and forget it. I ain't take no visits. I ain't talking to other teams trying to talk to him. Nah, I'm good off that. But because he was so locked in, there was no drama publicly. And so people kind of forget the best player in America is signed for Miami to come step in and play on the offensive line next year. Like, yeah, really, really huge get. Miami scored 400 points and have given up only 166. Wow. It sucks that the point distribution happened the way it did in those two games. Hassan Kayab, yes, he does have a favorite college football team. And you know which one it is. Tyson Tracy says he went to the Virginia Tech game and Judd looks like a linebacker tight end. No, he's a project development player, but size-wise, he may need to try another position. He is a giant. Yeah. He might need to be on that Buck Ortega train of moving to tight end because, yeah, no, that's not gonna happen. Markel Bell is 6'9", true. CJ is 6'8". CJ Bailey? Oh, he's 6'6", 6'7". He a big boy. Yeah. Judd is like 6'7", 6'8". Like, yeah, he was a 20-15 basketball player as a athletic power forward in high school. Y'all are on Judd right there. Calvin Russell pushed back his signing. From everything I have heard, seen, and read, Miami will not be involved in the Calvin Russell recruitment moving forward. Take that for what you will. Gabby Rudy has said it. Adam Lichtenstein from the Sun Sentinel said it. Again, I've read those. I've seen other things, and I've heard other things, but I'm not a full-time journalist, so I'm not going to, report that. But I will just add in the color everything I've seen, heard, and read. Miami will not be going there. Take that what you will, or however you would like. Mo Kane said he read all of the notebooks. Appreciate it, man. I appreciate you. I see also the other question that you asked. I'm not addressing that because I'm not enabling your trolling. Tyson Tracy, how did the Valley Rangers miss on Malachi Tony, a 3-star? See, the thing about it is they were focused on other players in this current recruiting class, the 2026 recruiting class. He was going to get an update at the end of last cycle coming into this full year. Because remember, Malachi Tony should be a senior in high school right now, right? So he was underranked as a junior. True. Yes, absolutely. But his station and his stance and his ranking was going to improve had he stayed, but he enrolled early. So you think the whole spring evaluation period where there's an update, and then there's another update going into their senior years, and then there's a mid-season and an end of season. So you're missing 4, maybe 5 ranking updates from where he was till signing day now, which is when he should be signing. Not at the end of his freshman season, winning awards for ACC Rookie of the Year and ACC Offensive Rookie of the Year, and a finalist for the Sean Alexander Award as the best freshman in America. No. He should be taking his calculus finals, trying to win another state championship, and at the end, and signing now with all these other chances to get ranked or his ranking update from where it was because he, enrolled early. So that's where it was. Can you argue he shouldn't have been a 3-star at that point in the process? Absolutely. And I'm not going to fight you on that. But had he not reclassified up and been in this current class that signed today, I guarantee you he would have actually been a higher ranked player, but it is what it is. And he didn't drop to a 3-star. He just was a 3-star at the time. Man, you got a lot of people in here right now. I appreciate it. Miami Hurricanes 21-29. I don't fully agree with you that it's on play calling. if you want to say motivation, if you want to say just getting the performance, but like the play call didn't throw 4 interceptions against Louisville. The play call didn't drop a ball that hit him in both hands into an interception against SMU. You know what I mean? A play call didn't see JoJo Trader get tackled and dry humped in the end zone right in front of the back judge and him elect not to throw that flag, let alone the sack fumble on the first play of the second half, which they incorrectly overruled and things like that. Like sometimes you don't play as well as you need to play, but ascribing the play calling to Mario is not necessarily something I agree with. Maybe other parts of the coaching process, and I will put at his feet. And in the good, the bad, and the ugly, after the losses, I gave very, very, very negative grades. So I'm not saying that he was perfect. So please don't take me to say that. But I don't necessarily agree with your specific negative thought for Mario Cristobal. Enticing Tracy again. I understand if you want to say that Malachi Tony should have been ranked higher when he was a junior. I'm not going to fight you on that. 5 ranks, 23 says Waters' seatbelt is going to play early. The kid is a stud. I hope so, man. Like, he's very, very good. An awesome nickname. So we got seatbelt, Waters, Bam is Ashari Charles's nickname. JJ Dunnigan, I mean, technically it's James Jr., so JJ. There's another nickname in there too. Yeah, really, really cool stuff. Let's see. Falconer, is Jamin Mallory Will Mallory's brother? Don't think so, friend. Falconer also asks, where's George? Don't know. Hope he's well. Appreciate you rocking with the analysis. Appreciate that. We'll probably talk about this next week when Beck plays in the bowl game. When we are left out of the college football playoff, because I do believe that we're going to be left out of the college football playoff. I believe you will have seen the last of a lot of the starting level players that are going to the NFL. I think, you're going to see. It just makes no sense for them to play. CJ Daniels, Keelan Marion, Mark Fletcher, Carson Beck, Francis Mauinoa, Anas Cooper, Jacoby Thomas, the linebackers. Keontae Scott's already injured and out for the year. I think you'll see a lot of guys elect to make a business decision. And I am not going to any bowl game as such. I think it was Justin DeTavio did this week's Dear JD. I'm tired of Pop-Tarts and everything. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I didn't even know this if I look. Hold on. Are you right? Jackson Cantwell is the second highest recruit in Miami Hurricanes history? Wow. Hold on a second. Share my screen. You see it right there. Second highest recruit by grade ever. DJ Williams, my freshman brother in 2000. Right up there at number 1, the number 1 player in America, so he should be. And then Cantwell, then Chantrell Henderson, who was number 2, I believe, in the country. Willie Williams. What could have been? Kyle Wright was like number 5 in the country. Ryan Moore was like number 4 in the country. Yeah. Arthur Brown, Kenny Phillips. Yeah, but Jackson Cantwell, the second highest rated recruit since ratings and rankings have become rankings. That's awesome. I didn't even realize that. Appreciate you. Going back to quarterback, people talking about Dylan Raiola, maybe Austin Simmons, who's from Pahokee. Watch George pop up when I say or DJ Leg. Hey, you know what? Charles Johnson, we can disagree about Lenore Sellers. I'm cool with that. I don't think that he's good at all. He cannot see the field. He cannot make throws, bro. And if you cannot make throws, you cannot play for me. I'm fine disagreeing. Again, not being disagreeable, but I'm cool. Mario's going to be speaking Spanish. He speaks 4 languages, bro. Come on, bro. Come on, bro. Black Raider Steel, can I come on and bash FSU? And anytime. There's ain't nobody over there watching that, JV stuff. What up, Kenson? I see you. Kenson saying CJ Bailey is iffy. After I saw what we did to him, I'm good. I'm good off that. Like, I know that it was pitched. If we recruited him, we would have got all the dudes from Chaminade that year, including Smith. I didn't believe that to be true. Also, we don't negotiate with terrorists, so like we're not going to have recruits hold us hostage, just try to get their homeboy on or anything. And like, I think that he can be, upper half of the conference and potential mid-round draft pick and everything. I'm not saying that he's Judd Anderson or anything, but like, nah, like elevate your view, vibrate higher, bro. Like, nah, we're not. No CJ Bailey, not for me. James Scott, the date of next year's Notre Dame game, tentatively November 7th up in South Bend, was what Barry Jackson from Miami Herald reported. How will the offensive line look next year without Maui Noah, Cooper, Brockermeyer, and likely Bell? It'll look different for sure. I really think that Joel Irvin and Jackson Cantwell are both going to start as true freshmen. And then kind of go from there. Matthew McCoy, Samson Okunlola, you know what I mean? Tommy Kinsler is another blue chip guy who's been toiling away in obscurity, maybe looking for his chance at tackle and everything. And we will rotate dudes, but like, it'll look vastly different, but we'll see in the spring. Charles Johnson, Chris Henry Jr. is not coming. Please make me wrong, Chris Henry Jr. Please. How do I feel about Austin Simmons? How do we get Adidas to make us some convict jerseys for Notre Dame game in November? It's an away game, so and Mario is a traditionalist, so we're either going white over orange or Stormtroopers for that game. I tell you that right now. We ain't wearing not a nan green anything. The military appreciation honor and support jerseys. Let me call them right. Those were green camo, but like just the base white and green. No, Mario is a traditionalist. White over green. White over orange, orange over white. Maybe one special jersey, and maybe Stormtroopers a couple times on the roads, but on the road, I should say. Chauncey Gooden and or Jordan Seaton were chasing a transfer from Colorado. I take Jordan Seaton and play him at guard. I don't think he's a very good tackle, but also I'm not willing to pay the cost that he's going to want to cost. He was the 5-star tackle in a very bad recruiting class for tackles a couple of years ago, and you just trust and believe you broke bank for Jackson Cantwell. I'm going to go with that investment. I'm not willing to pay what it will probably cost to get him. Only going to be on here for a couple more minutes. Lord Jesus, I got to get to the end of these comments. Excuse me. Remember Clemsoning, yeah? Why doesn't Malachi Tony get at least a little Heisman consideration? Because he's a freshman, and the stats really took off for him in the second half of the year, I believe. Looking these up now. Let's go game log. No, I mean, actually, it's very consistent. Jeez. 82, 80, 66, 40, 107, 135, 52, 70, 2 for 12 catches, that is, against Syracuse. 54, 126, or 146, 126. I mean, like, he's had 40 yards in every He's had more than 40 yards in every game but one, more than 50 yards in every game but two. Huh. More consistent than I thought. I think that Miami would have to be undefeated to get guys in that kind of ilk. Trinidad Chambliss, LSU. I think Markel Bell stays another year. That'll be interesting. He had 2 years to play too. I don't know if he's going to petition alongside, like, what Diego Pavia did to get another year of eligibility this year or whatever. I would like not to go to the portal for offensive line much. Maybe one guy, maybe, but I really would like to allocate those funds elsewhere. I really would. I think that in 4 of your 5 starters were homegrown. Well, Bell was JUCO, but you had Okunlola McCoy at left guard, and McCoy is another guy who comes back. But they're both homegrown. You went the free agent route at center. You got a kid from JUCO, so half homegrown there with Markel Bell, and then Anas Cooper, 4-year starter. He moved in the starting lineup his 5th game of his true freshman year, and he's played every snap since then. And then, Francis Mauigoa has been set it and forget it ever since we signed him. So, you're really homegrown there. I would really like to say or see that be homegrown. And you're paying enough and developing guys, so I would like that. But if you need, you also have to do what you need to do to make the team better. So if it has to be a portal guy, cool. I just would like it not to be. And that, my friends and fellow Hurricanes, brings us to the end of the comments, which is going to bring us to the end of the show. I'd stayed an extra 33 minutes with you guys. Appreciate that. Thanks for rocking. Please hit the like. Please share. Please subscribe. And before I get out of here, I am going to show you the wonderful website known as State of the U. Yes, I used the back-to-back state champs as the cover for the early signing day open thread today. So I put all of the happenings for today in chronological order in this piece, published at 6:30, updated all day. Ruben Payne, ACC Defensive Player of the Year. Malachi Tony, ACC Rookie and Offensive Rookie of the Year. 2 different awards, by the way. Your story stream right here with all of the pieces from National Signing Day. Every single player has a notebook. Every single one. And I continue to go down, and we can list them all off. Carson Bush, Isaac Chikora, Frederick Santius, Israel Briggs, Vance Spafford. They signed later because they're Californian, so 7 o'clock comes later in the day there. Duh. Jordan Campbell, Jackson Cantwell, Gavin Mueller, J.J. Dunnigan, Tyson Bacon, Ben Congdon, on and on and on and on and on and on and on. And there's even more great content. I know I spammed all of these today because it's signing day, and so the notebooks go up on signing day. But yeah, all of that is there. Please come and rock with us. Fresh 3542. Well, I'll end on a couple more things. We should have our own O-line by now. I can see us getting another D-tackle, middle linebacker in the portal. Again, you're playing mostly homegrown guys along the offensive line. So maybe one, but I would hope not. Chris Guns, man, I appreciate you with the compliment. Thank you so very much. Khalid says Miami is losing to Notre Dame next year. Book it. Fresh 3542 says we needed to flip 2 players. If you're talking about 5 stars like Tank Jones and James Johnson, for example, would have been nice. But this class, I did say last year signing day left a lot to be desired because of the guys that we didn't get, the Hilton Stubbs, the DJ Pickett's of the world, things like that. Or guys like that, I should say. I feel much more comfortable with this class, especially because of the number and the quality of this class, even though I know it's ranked number 10. I will say in what you're saying, we needed 3 5-stars. We need to stop and know that we have the most talented class in the ACC for the 4th year in a row. We have the most talented roster in the ACC by a country mile. it needs to stop being 8 and 9 and 10 in the rankings. It needs to be 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, top. Marcus Ball today did say, they have internal rankings and everything, and you want every player to be a player who you can see making an impact to help you win conference championships and national championships. That's the standard. No roster filler, no, just under-talented Nepo babies, when we've had some, which is why I was very intentional to say Camden Portis stands on his own too, regardless of his last name. Cannon Pickett stands on his own too, regardless of his last name. And Jackson Cantwell technically is a Nepo baby because both his parents are Olympic throwers. And he's actually a record setter. He was like a centimeter away from the longest high school shot put throw ever. And he's giving up track to focus on football, so like you say, it's just because of his parents and, like their coach, from when they were Olympians, coach, at Miami and on the track staff and everything. But no, so I think we just need to raise it even more, right? Raise the floor of who we're recruiting and everything. So yeah, that is that. It is 8:37, and I'm going to call that the end of the show. Again, thank you guys so much for rocking with us. StateOfTheU.com is the website. Please come on over and fan with us. My name is Cam Underwood. It has been my pleasure. I will see you all next week where we will discuss Miami's college football playoff fate one way or another. Take care, everybody.